9 ways to rev up your revenues, power up your profitability. Now, revving up your revenues is one thing, but remember, powering up your profitability is completely different, because this big thing in between is called managing your financial expenses and your controls. So it is very different. Today we're going to talk about both ends of the spectrum: revenues at the top of your income statement and profitability at the bottom, the stuff that really counts. So let me guide you through this. First of all, you may not have started your business with a passion to be a multimillionaire. Not everybody does. Sometimes people start their business to have an impact on the world, or create an opportunity for themselves, or bring their skills to light, or bring their passion to light. So regardless of how passionate you are, sure, that passion will get you up in the morning, but it won't get you up in the morning for very long if that passion isn't also equating to a profit in your business. Because, realistically, how many of us signed up to be volunteers? If we want to be a volunteer, please go be a volunteer for a great organization, a women's shelter, a SPCA, supporting breakfast for kids. All of those great things are wonderful volunteer opportunities. However, business should not be considered a volunteer opportunity. If it is, then it's more of a hobby than a business. So let's talk about how you rev up your revenues step by step. Some of you may have heard this before. Some of it is fundamentals, but the most successful people in business that I have spoken to in my Secrets of Business Success series that's available through the WOW VIP membership is they keep going back to rework the foundation of their business. They keep going back to the fundamentals. They keep asking the same questions over and over and over again, because business changes. What worked in marketing and sales, and we used to call it marketing and sales 5 years ago, no longer works today. The person who you thought was your most valuable client might not be. So it really is a matter of going back to the foundations again and again and again. And I recommend you do that quarterly, or at least every 6 months. So in the WOW VIP Tribe membership, there is already, I think it's about a 15-page workbook you can download at no additional charge other than your monthly membership fee, and work through 15 pages of me guiding you through an assessment of your business. Where is it at? Where do you want to go? And planning the action steps on how to get there. So I would recommend, if you don't do it quarterly, do it at least twice a year, because sometimes we get so busy working in our businesses, we forget to book time for what I call empire building and work on your business. So thank you for booking the time today to work on your business with me. So the first thing that I want you to go back to again and again and again, because your most valuable clients' pain points will change over time. And so thinking about step 1 out of the 9 steps is continue to identify and re-identify who is your MVC, or your most valuable client. Where are they hanging out, online and offline? Because that could change. We saw the mass exodus of teenagers and youth, and basically anyone under 25. There was a mass exodus from Facebook to Instagram. So if you were trying to market to that particular audience, you had to change your marketing strategies completely. Now they have a tendency to, if they're a younger demographic again, and those younger demographics are going to keep aging like the rest of us, they're moving from Instagram to Snapchat to TikTok, and they're saying, you know what, Facebook's dead to us. So where is your most valuable client hanging out from a social media perspective, and also offline? So we'll go through their fears and their pain points and their desires. And this really indicates if you know your most valuable client almost better than they do, then you'll be able to place your engagement and connection strategies in the right spots so you can actually engage and connect with them. It really is that easy. But the most important part is the rule number one: know your customer or know your client again and again and again. So who is your ideal customer? Where are they hanging out online? What are their challenges? Sometimes we get into business because we like the product that we're selling, but we're not too sure if we're meeting those solution points to rectify a problem or rectify a pain point that our most valuable client might have. So when you're thinking about how do you do this, how do you identify your most valuable client, and I am producing a more in-depth webinar on this opportunity. You can hear my puppy dog barking upstairs. He's ignoring his bark collar today. So the basic demographics is where you start. It really is. That's the easiest place to start. Is it male or female? And when we start thinking that we're marketing everything to everybody, that's when we start doing what I call the spray and pray approach to your business. You're spraying stuff everywhere, you're praying something comes back, and you're wondering, why the heck is my advertising not working? Because it's not targeted. So thinking about some basic demographics, and this is an example of what those demographics might look like, is that, maybe your most valuable client is female. And if you're actually selling anything to a household, it's statistically proven that females make 92% of the decisions. So you might have to speak in a lingo that helps the female of the household self-identify that you have a solution for her. Also, too, thinking about what age demographic. So your age is going to be really, really important. Why? Because it's going to tell you how in this season of this age range, because we all go through seasons in our lives, where are they spending their time? Are they running back and forth to the hockey rink in the wintertime? Is it a busy professional woman who just can't even put herself on the priority list, let alone you? Or is it an empty nester who has time on her hands? Or is it someone who's running after children or grandchildren? So thinking about what season of life are they in? And then based on their age, this will give you, if you do some research on social media and the different platforms, and if you have a Facebook page yourself, you should be able to go into your insights to find out which person actually has, which age range is hitting your page most often. So maybe this the status of this person is full-time working, either married or single, mom with 2 teenagers, and then getting more specific on what are the teenagers' age. If you're thinking about marketing to a mom with a 6-month-old, then she's hanging out in a different place than the mom with a teenager. So really identifying those basic demographics, their income levels, because a person who has an income level of $30,000 plus as a household might be concerned about, can we put food on the table, a roof over our heads, and pay the electricity this month, versus purchasing additional, what I call disposable income purchases, where, if I have an extra $50, how am I going to spend that? Am I going to buy a new piece of clothing or some makeup or a new necklace or a new piece of equipment? Am I going to invest that back into my business? So thinking about what is the income level of the person you're wanting to attract. And the location, believe it or not, has a big impact on where you're putting your social media. For example, if your most valuable client is living more in an urban environment, they're probably on a Twitter feed 24/7, because that's how they're getting their news, that's how they're getting their sports, that's how they're getting their entertainment. It's on Twitter. However, if they're in more of a rural environment, they're probably going to Facebook, and they go into their community groups for their rural location. So when you're thinking about where are they located, and they might be an international base, like WOW serves an international base, but where is the most valuable client? Not everybody. So your most valuable client really is the 20% of your client base that keeps coming back, keeps coming back, keeps coming back, keeps coming back, and gives you 80% of your revenues. And if you don't focus on that 20%, because sometimes we take that 20% for granted. We say, oh yes, they just keep coming back, they're my best customer, but we ignore them and go after the people who don't know and who don't care. So if you're looking for that type of strategy, nothing will work for your profitability growth if you ignore your most valuable client. So you don't ignore them. You have to keep constantly identifying and evolving what that most valuable client avatar looks like. So thinking about the characteristics based on the demographics, that I have a woman who's 35 to 50, working full-time, either married or single, mom of teenagers, income level of 70,000 plus, living in an urban environment in North America. First of all, some of the characteristics of this woman is she's got a full schedule with work and supporting children in extracurricular activities, if I can say that right this morning. Sports, drama, music. Where is she taking her kids? She's probably interested in self-care. Maybe she has a gym membership or she goes to yoga, but she's really in tune with energy management. So thinking about, not only do I know what her age is, now I know what her characteristics and some of her behaviors are. So when we're thinking about what that looks like from a most valuable client perspective, that's what I call psychographics, which is just a big word for pains, fears, characteristics, and behaviors and desires. Psychographics. So her pains and her fears are, she doesn't have enough time to go to the gym, but she wants easy workouts from home. She's working in a high-stress full-time job. She's trying to manage the household, and she never feels good enough. She's wondering if hiring a life or a health coach might increase her energy and be a good return on her investment. And she's tried lots of other programs and they didn't work, so why should be the one that you're offering? Her desires are, when you're thinking about what is her pain point and how can I solve that for her, is she wants more energy to keep up with daily demands. She wants to feel more attractive. She would like to lose 10 pounds before the next family reunion, or at least look like she did, and would love to decrease the amount of stress in her life. So when you're thinking, and when you print this workbook off, when you're thinking about identifying your most valuable client, think about what is the demographics you're dealing with. You know, is it business to business? So if it's not business to consumer, but it's business to business, what are the pain points of the business? Who is the decision maker in that business that will say yes to you? Right? So sometimes people say, well, I sell to other businesses. I don't really have a most valuable customer. That's not 100% true, because somebody in that business is making a decision. It is a person, not a title. So we have to identify who is that person. So if you keep coming back and reassessing who is my most valuable client and what does that avatar look like, what are the pain points of that person, and then ask yourself, how does the product or the service that I sell or I offer to the world. I don't like the word sell. So we're going to offer our services to the world. Make those pain points go away. So this is something that if you haven't already got your hands on this document, it will be available by Friday on the WOW VIP tribe membership site under your toolbox logo. If you go in and say into the website, it says, what do I need today? And there is a business tools section there. You click on that and you'll be able to see these documents, or all the documents for all the master classes, to be exact. So that's number one. Number two is, okay, first of all, we need to know, in order to bring any money into our pockets, we need to know who is going to put the money there. But we also need to get very, very clear on who we are as women in business and business owners and people who have services and products to offer. Who are we and how do we describe ourselves to our most valuable client? Because if we bump into our most valuable client and, you know, that person says, so what do you do? And you're like, I sell stuff and it's good and you'd like it. So, but it doesn't give you any type of connection or engagement. People aren't looking to be sold to anymore. People aren't looking even to be marketed to anymore. They want to be engaged and connected. And they engage and connect with the person that you are, not with the product that you sell. So if you're selling Young Living products, for example, there are a million and one Young Living reps around the world. I can buy from any of them. But why do I buy from my Young Living rep? Because I know her. You know, it's the know, like, and trust model. You have to allow people to get to know you. So if you're saying, hey, you know what, I'm not getting the engagement, I'm not getting the sales, I'm not getting the marketing response, ask yourself, how are you allowing people, your most valuable client, to get to know you? That's the fundamental. How are you allowing people to get to know you? Because they need to know you before they like and trust you. So number two in my nine ways to rev up your revenue is develop your personal brand statement. Now there's a separate, more comprehensive masterclass in the VIP tribe membership. But so you'll be able to go under, I think, powering up your profitability, that category, and find the personal brand statement masterclass that I'm teaching over there. So in developing your personal brand statement, it starts with you. It doesn't start with what you sell. So who are you? What are your values? What do you love to do? And what is your passion? And it's all about you. For example, the first part of my personal brand statement is I'm fun and ferociously focused. If I'm not having fun, ladies, I'm just not showing up. So, and I want you to have fun too. And I also want you to know that when I'm with you, whether it be in a one-on-one coaching call or whether I'm here with you today teaching, I'm with you. 100%. I'm ferociously focused on what I put my mind to, and we go through the motions to what I call hashtag get shit done to be successful. So thinking about who are you, what are your values? And then the second part of your personal brand statement is what qualifications or certifications do you have to do what you do? So if I were to use my personal brand statement as an example, of course, the first one, I'm fun and ferociously focused. Then my qualifications and certifications are, I'm a certified management consultant and multi-award winning business coach. So that gives me the very, you and me, the very quick snapshot of what my credentials are in order to show up and do what I do. Last but not least, we have to answer, if you want to be profitable in business, you have to answer your most valuable clients' most important question. And that question is one you and I ask every time we purchase something. What's in it for me? So in that personal brand statement, you have to really narrow it down into a sentence. So, and it's not selling the tools of what you have, it's selling the effect of applying the tools. So in my personal brand statement, if I encapsulate all three of what you see on the screen is, I'd say, hi, I'm Michelle. I'm a fun and ferociously focused certified management consultant and multi-award winning business coach. I am passionate about helping women in business and leadership increase their profitability and their productivity. So I'm sharing with you what I hope for you when you work with me. So when you work with me, I hope that you will then have strategies to increase your productivity, because time is a commodity in your business, probably even more of a stressful commodity than earning money, because we never seem to have enough time. So both time and money are commodities in your business. How you manage your time is just as much as important as how you manage your money. But again, wrapping the first 2 steps of those 9 steps together is, first of all, who are you talking to? And the second part is, what are you telling them about you? So they can actually know who you are, what qualifications you have to even engage with them, and then what is the result of the engagement. So you're not selling the tools, you're selling the result of the engagement. What are they walking away from and away with? And hopefully it's a solution to one of the pain points that you've identified in the very first step. So that's step number 1. And step number 2 about how to rev up your revenue. Step number 3, believe it or not, is stop marketing and selling. So, and I don't mean this facetiously, this is real. We are on social media to get social rather than market or sell. One thing as business owners we need to clear up the myth of is that marketing generates sales. It doesn't. Marketing generates awareness of who you are. Marketing is a monologue of who you are. So it basically is, hey, here's my brochure. And I'm not saying don't do that, but make sure when you're handing over your brochure that there's an engagement and a connection happening between you and your most valuable client, that it's not passive advertising and sitting on somebody's desk hoping that it will pick up any other thing than dust. So when you're thinking about, you've identified your current most valuable client, who they is, you've developed the answer for their most important question of what's in it for me. Now it's time to start connecting with your most valuable client. You've identified through the first step where they're hanging out. So the question is, why aren't you hanging out there too? So they can get to know, like, and trust you. So you can actually do this on social media as well as in person. So, and a social media strategy for connection, simply if somebody likes your post on social media, say thank you. Don't ignore them. Send a message back and say, hey, thanks for liking my post about the newest lipstick that I offer. Do you have any questions about that? Or if someone's saying, hey, I saw your post that, you know, you offer accounting services, or someone liked it and said, thanks for liking this post. First of all, you have to remind them what post they liked, because, you know, I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm on social media going like, and they've totally forgotten that they liked your post. So you need to remind them that they liked it, and then you want to say thank you, and then you want to do something to start a conversation, because connections don't happen before conversations start. You need to start a conversation first before you have a connection. So it's the conversation in a private message, whether it be on LinkedIn, whether you're having a comment on Instagram, whether you're going back and having conversations with the people that liked your posts on Facebook. This is a way to engage and connect and get social. So if you're asking yourself, what am I going to do today to increase your business? I would back that up and ask yourself, what am I doing today to have conversations? So is it a conversation in a group like the WOW group? If there's a question asked and you're giving your 2 cents in the comments, is it a conversation that you're going to pick up the phone and call somebody and book a coffee date? Is it that you're going to show up and follow up at a WOW gathering or participate in at a membership group like this? Or is it that you are just going to have a conversation in the grocery store? Authentic, real, based on how can I connect with you before I try and sell to you? So if we get into the mindset of service before sales, then we'll be focused on service and the sales will come. Just like I'm focused on service today, and this webinar is absolutely no cost to you. So when you're thinking of people still do business with people they know, like, and trust. So you're either going to meet, if you're at the grocery store, if you're at a WOW luncheon, if you're at if you're networking on LinkedIn, for example, you're going to try and reach out to 2 types of people. The first one, of course, no surprise, is your most valuable customer or most valuable client. The second person you really want to engage and connect with and build relationship with is your most valuable referral partner, who knows somebody who knows somebody who needs your services and is willing to know, like, and trust. Now, here's the beauty of someone referring you or giving you a social media shout out. It's amazing. When it comes to that know, like, and trust model, if one of my friends, say, for example, I'm going to use Kim Free as an example, just an example. So I give a shout out to Kim Free going, thank you so much. You're doing a great job on social media. If someone trusts me and is looking for a social media person, then the trust that they have in me is automatically applied to the trust they'll give to Kim. Does that make sense? So it is actually even more important to be building business relationships with your most valuable referral partners, because the people that they refer step into that, what I call the trust triangle. If the person that referred you, if you trust them, they'll trust me because I'm the person they're referring to. So you're looking to engage and connect, not market and sell to those people. If you engage and connect, your most valuable clients who love you and can't stop referring you, or your most valuable referral buddies who love you and can't stop referring you, they'll bring in the sales for you. You won't have to worry about it. It'll just come. But remember, this is not, being business is not an overnight success. So when you think about it, you'll quite often hear on television or radio or social media that it was an overnight success, 10 years in the making. So all of these are what I call long-term strategies. It takes time. Give yourself time to build those revenues and build those relationships that will build your business. It is a long game strategy, not a get rich quick strategy. That's not business. So when you're thinking about number 4 is, remember those 20% of customers that bring you 80% of your business. You have to nurture those relationships. Don't forget about them because you think, oh, they'll show up anyway. You know, I am blessed to have what I call serial wowers. So there's a group of ladies that go to every wow event across the province. And I'm so blessed by them, but I don't forget them. I don't take them for granted because realistically, the amount of time and funding they're giving up for their business is not to go unnoticed. So when you think about who are the 20% of your current customers who keep coming back, or better yet, they've turned into your most valuable referral buddy and they're bringing more customers to you. We need to nurture them, and women nurture by nature. But we keep on telling ourselves, I don't want to follow up because I don't want to be too pushy or too salesy, or I don't want to bother people. If someone is calling you to say, hey, Mary Lou, it's Michelle, I'm just checking in. How's your day going? That's a nurturing call. And I can say this is, and sometimes I'll say, this is not a sales call. It's part of my client care experience. So I'm just want to know, how are you? I want to know the person. Sure, eventually we'll probably talk about business and identify a roadblock that maybe I can help you with. Or maybe there's a program that you have found that that's the solution for your business. But it's not based on sales and marketing. It's about nurturing your tribe with follow-up. So the big question, a lot of women in business say, well, I don't want to appear too pushy and I don't want to impose on them. But I tell you this, ladies, if I could finally train my massage therapist to call me and say, Michelle, it's been 4 weeks since your last massage. I know your neck, your shoulders, your back are hurting because you sit too long in a chair in front of a computer. I have an appointment opening this day and this day. Would you like one of those? Is that a sales call or a nurturing call? It's a nurturing call that will result in a sale, because I will not say no to if somebody called me and said that. So it's the follow-up will make you a fortune. Multi-level marketing firms or direct sales companies follow what does actually make them millions is the 2, 2, and 2 follow-up client care system. If you want more information about that, I will be posting a more in-depth masterclass about the 2, 2, and 2 follow-up system and how it works and how it can work for you to make you a fortune too, in the VIP tribe membership area. So check that out. Number 5 is all about profitability. So we looked at revenues. We looked at how do we increase our revenues through engagement, connections, and building business relationships. That's where it all starts. But somewhere along the line, not only do you have to love on your customers, you have to love on your numbers. And what I mean by that is that, especially as small business owners, because unless you have an accounting background or a bookkeeping background or you've done books for another business, that's not something that we love to do. You know, I would rather be teaching a class, even though once upon a time, believe it or not, I used to be an accountant. You could not pay me enough to go back there. But I would much rather teach this webinar, for example, than ever look at numbers. I have my own bookkeeper that I send my receipts to, and I don't have to think about it until I get my monthly financial statement back and I read them. So first of all, it shouldn't actually be you doing the data entry of your numbers. You're going to shoot yourself in the foot from a time perspective, because you could be spending income producing time in your area of genius, marketing and connecting, engaging, and selling your product, versus sitting down for a full day and pulling your hair out over the numbers. So even though we say, oh, I can't afford a bookkeeper, The question is that you're doing your profitability damage if you're spending time doing the data entry of your books. Now, what you do need to know as a CEO of your business is how to read a financial statement. And I will be teaching that class. Guess what? Where? In the VIP area in the Masterclass. So you need to know the story behind what the number says, and you always need to take a pulse on your financial health. So important. You should be looking at that monthly. I don't even like the word should, but do it monthly. You need to look at your financial statements monthly to identify, do you need to make any quick returns, or did something go awry with your TELUS bill? Because that happens. Did the bank make a mistake? Did you overpay somebody? So we need to be reactive quickly, and we can't be reactive quickly if we're only looking at our tax documents once a year. So thinking about ignoring your numbers and not having an accountant look after your numbers really is detrimental to revving up your revenues, because you want to spend all your time as a business owner in an income producing activity of your business. So if you don't know what an income producing activity is from your business, come to Ask Michelle in the membership area. I'm online once a week, and I'll direct you what is an income producing activity for your business versus what is a non-income producing activity. So keep a close eye on your numbers. Also, I'd recommend doing a quarterly audit of your expenses. Maybe your communications company, you thought you were getting a bundle, but something happened and now it's been unbundled and the cost has gone up. Or maybe there is an opportunity to switch providers for a more reasonable cost. Or if you call your current provider and say, hey, I think I'm switching to another provider because it's a more reasonable cost, 9 times out of 10, they want to keep you and they want to work with you. So thinking about that, remember, according to a study by the Small Business Association, 28% of businesses fail, F-A-I-L, fail, due to problems with the financial structure of their company, including keeping poor accounting records. So if I were to come alongside you and say, how are your sales doing? What's your profit margin? How much do you have in your savings account to pay your taxes this year? What does that look like? Those are the numbers you should know and love, and not stick your head in the sand and wait for year end to come around so you get an awful tax bill. Or worse, you were thinking you were making money because there was money in the bank, but you actually owe somebody something. So think about your quarterly numbers as doing a quarterly expense, monthly numbers doing a monthly review of your financial statements. So if you have a bookkeeper doing your financial statements, you're going to ask them for a monthly profit and loss statement. I also like to look at a year-to-date profit and loss statement. And my poor bookkeeper, because she knows who she's dealing with, if I see something that doesn't make sense to me on their statements, then I'll go back and I'll say, could I have a general ledger printout of this particular account? Because I want to see what's in it. I want to see the story behind the numbers rather than just being scared of the numbers themselves. So think about what's the story. Number 6, as we get to all the way to the 9 steps to increase your profitability and boost and rev up your revenues, is increase your average invoice. Now, this is possible. You may have to think outside of the box, but if you're an entrepreneur, you probably don't have a box to think out of. It's like, what box? Because it's all innovative. So thinking about, you're seeing this strategy in action from a retail perspective. It can also happen from a service perspective, a home-based business perspective. So you've seen the strategy in action if you've ever stopped at Superstore or Extra Foods. This strategy actually makes, for this grocery chain, $750,000 per store per year. So if you get innovative, what could this strategy do for you and your business? So basically, the strategy is at the cash register, they're saying, would you like the feature of the day? Notice the feature is never on sale. And it normally is between $2 and $5, which is a really easy impulse buy. And it's also something that we would normally pick up as a necessity item: deodorant, soap, toothpaste, Q-tips, what have you. So when you're thinking about how does that impact my business, because you would probably say, well, my business is different, it would never work. That's not necessarily true, because how could you have a feature of the day? Statistically proven that in this shopping commercial, or this grocery shopping example, that 50% of the customers say yes. They're probably women, because women have a hard time saying no. So 50% of the customers say yes to, would you like the feature of the day? So now it's time for you to put on your thinking cap. I'm happy to brainstorm this individually with you if you want to book some time with me and think about what can be your feature of the day. You're not upselling. Upselling is totally different. You are providing more value at a reasonable cost. So how can you provide a little bit more value that would be the solution to one of your most valuable clients' pain points? Or could you package something to say, okay, rather than selling these things as individuals, I'm going to put it together in a package, put a beautiful red bow on it, and charge $5 more. So when you're thinking about how can you add, if you added $5 more per invoice that you write in a year, how much money would that bring you? And that's something that, we can discuss on a one-on-one basis about what could your business do to think outside the box, that as an entrepreneur, you shouldn't really have a box anyway. We're always thinking innovatively and strategically and creatively. So, if a lawyer can do it, and I have an example on this printout that I did work with a lawyer who was offering products and service. And with this strategy, the result was $4,000 more per week in billings. So when you think about it, if a lawyer can do it, selling legal services, and a grocery store can do it, selling toothpaste, it can be done. We just have to put our thinking caps on and be a little bit creative and a little bit innovative to increase your average invoice. So number 7, keep your clients coming back and bringing their friends too. So what are you doing to keep your clients coming back? And do you have something for them to come back to? Maybe it's an aftercare program. Maybe it's a membership. Maybe it's a monthly check-in. Is there an opportunity for them to keep going back so it's not always a one-time sale? And you're always not selling, but you're providing them a place for them to come back to, because you want to increase your lifetime value of your client. So how you do that is you have a program that they can keep coming back to, keep dipping their feet in your well, but also making them a most valuable referral partner so they will bring their friends out as well. So bringing their friends is all about asking for reviews. Sometimes we forget. I forget too, to ask people to put a review on your Google My Business page or your Facebook page, or a recommendation on LinkedIn, or just a social media shout out. So ask, when you say, oh, no one reviews my services, the question is, have you asked them to review? because they're living busy lives too. So we never get for what we don't ask for. So make sure you're asking for those reviews and personal recommendations. You know, while most businesses worry that they might get a negative review, the lack of positive reviews on your social media, LinkedIn, Google My Business, actually drives more customers away than bringing them to you. So, and if you have a negative review, it's a great place to follow up and nurture that relationship so it turns into a positive one. Last but not least, well, no, we're not even last. We're at number 8. Improve your negotiation skills. So the power of negotiation is important as it relates to business, because especially if you are buying from a wholesaler and then you are retailing. So in this tough economy, now is the time to sharpen your negotiation skills and see if you can get what I call some supplier credit. So you might be able to get your retail products shipped to you, and then you have 30, 60, or 90 days to pay your bill. So that gives you cash flow time where you can turn over that inventory that you might have. And then once the inventory is turned over, you've got cash flow to pay your bill. If you're working in that type of industry, a lot of suppliers are now willing to be a lot more flexible with their terms and conditions than they ever have before. But that doesn't mean that if you're in a service industry, you can't think about your negotiation skills with your clients. If a client is saying, hey, you know what, I can't work with you anymore, it's not working for me financially, it's a matter of, okay, tell me what would work for you. Perhaps you could develop a new package that would work for your potential clients. Is it a monthly payment program? Is it, if they can't afford to purchase your social media packages, can they sign up for a social media mastery program where you teach them how to manage their own for, a wonderful monthly fee? So when you're thinking about how to improve your negotiation skills, it really is based on the connections you have and the level of engagement you have and how much people know, like, and trust you. So think about those negotiation skills. Last but not least, increase your prices. We, believe it or not, as much as we love to give, and I love to give as well, I love to give. However, when we give too much, we can often slice our own marginal throats, where it really does have a negative impact on your revenues and your profitability. So assess, first of all, are there any other competitors in the marketplace offering similar services? And do some competitor analysis. What are they charging right now in this economy? What packages do they have? And how competitive are your prices? Because people will always say, I just can't afford you. And that actually might be the truth. However, if you have a program like I do for as little as $25 a month, and you've identified someone as your most valuable client, and they're saying, I can't afford the $25 a month, first of all, maybe they're not your most valuable client, but they've just chosen that to spend the $25 elsewhere. Right? It's not that they don't have it, they're just spending it elsewhere. So thinking about your prices, you are not Walmart. You do not have the capacity as a small business owner to roll back your prices. Did you know Walmart actually invented the inventory management system where they don't pay for their inventory until it's sold? So when you're thinking about it, they're not carrying a lot of risk, are they? But as small business owners, we carry the risk, whether it be a service or whether we're carrying inventory, you're still carrying the risk. So think about, work on clearly understanding your audience. Again, your most valuable customer, we talked about what are their income levels, what can they afford to pay, the problem that you solve for them, and the way your solution is different from everybody else's. So why is the solution that you offer different from anybody else's? because it goes back to your value system. No one else is like you. There are 1,000,001, if not more, certified management consultants and award-winning business coaches from around the world. But really, how many are there as fun as me? So when you're thinking about that, it's all about who you are. We keep going back to those first couple of questions. Who is your most valuable client, and who are you? And how are you allowing the world to get to know you so well that people start doing that, what do they call it? Word of mouth advertising for you? That people say, oh yeah, I just run my business on word of mouth advertising. That's fabulous, but you have to do something in order to get somebody else talking about you. And generally that do something is you talking about you. But that's all in the engagement funnel masterclass on the VIP site. So again, check out the 12 tips for increasing your prices without losing customers. Time it right. Number one, if you're going to increase your prices, make sure you time it right, because really great months of the year in Canada to raise your prices are January, because it's a new year, April, because hey, spring is here and we are now coming out of hibernation. So to the Canadian public or anyone affected by, a winter like we do, it's a new year for us. And then September with the new school year. So you're looking at January, April, or September are your high points where people are almost expecting prices to increase. So think about where in that time frame is the consumer more palatable to an increase. Secondly, add extras. So if customers are far more likely to accept higher prices if they're getting something else in the bargain. So what else can you give them? Is it as simple as a social media shout out from about their company from you? And say, sure, you know what? I really like working with you. Why don't I help you get more clients? And I'll give you a social media shout out if you continue to be my client. So when you're thinking about that, does that cost you any money to give them a social media shout out? No, but it has a huge impact on their business because you're going back into that trust triangle. You're relating into that trust triangle I talked about earlier. The next one is reduce sizes. My husband's dad used to run a movie theater in Elk Point. And my husband tells the story of that Grandpa Steve, as we lovingly called him, never used to raise his prices on popcorn. But the bags always got smaller. So you're thinking about, restaurants often do this tactic, but you can do it for anyone, whether it be candles or a retail product or even a service product, where you're saying we've had to revamp our packages. And so this is what we're available to give you in this particular package for this price. Play the numbers game. So some pricing principles can work for non-food items. So if you normally sell a 10-pack of toner cartridges, for example, if you're selling supplies for $100, but you need to increase the price to $120, then maybe the package size looks different. Excuse me, or you reduce the package size but increase the price. So you're decreasing from 5 and then it's 70, a 3-pack for 45. This is what you'll see Staples do a lot. They'll change the packages and increase the price. It seems like the 10-pack for $100 then seems like a deal, even if it's at a new higher price. So they play the numbers a little bit like that. The larger stores do that. I don't actually recommend doing that because it feels a little bit fraudulent to me, but that's just my values. So adding or raising fees. You can avoid raising prices on your actual product or service by adding fees. So this is something the utilities people do it. They'll say, your electricity costs this, but in order for me to get it to your home, this is what we're raising up and down all the time. So thinking about, are there opportunities for you to have a fee. You know, it could be for people who are not your most valuable clients, and this is a joke, by the way, you know, just because you annoy me fee. But right, sometimes we have those. Add improvements. So customers will be more willing to accept a price increase if it's accompanied by an improvement. You see this happen all the time for products and services, new and improved, and therefore it's a price increase. Offer discounts to cancel out the price increase. So, or you can, what I've done for my services are I've grandfathered my 20% at prices that new people coming into engaging with my services may not be available to, simply because the people who I have grandfathered have been with me for so many years. So I give them the offer of the discount. I will grandfather you into my services at this price for a year. If by the end of a year of working with me, you cannot afford the next step, that's my bad, because I've not coached you well. So thinking about that, you can bundle your products and services. You can raise rates at intervals versus one big jump. So if you decide 12 months from now you would like your bookkeeping prices to be $75 an hour, right now you're charging $50 an hour, maybe you might look at those intervals of January, April, September to have graduated increases so it's more palatable to your clients as well. So raising prices might not be easy for you. And certainly as women, sometimes we go by feelings. It might not feel good, but sometimes it needs to happen to make sure your business is sustainable in the long term and that you're not a volunteer in your own business. And quite often, perception is reality. So when you're thinking about people may perceive you as being less than or less qualified than you actually say you are, or your products aren't as good as they really seem because they're cheaper than the marketplace. So think about that. There is a perception out there that you get what you pay for. So the bottom line is failing to make or increase profits is something you don't want to experience. However, some businesses need to adopt new practices and find ways to become more profitable. So all the strategies, my 9 strategies on how to rev up your revenues and increase your profitability, they are all broken apart more in depth in the membership area. Or if you'd like to work one-on-one with me privately, then by all means, you can go to wowbiztribe.com/work with Michelle. That's the Work with Michelle button. There's lots of different programs there that would fit your budget.